when I first was starting to look at sponsors, I send them an email and just kind of give them a rundown of who I am, what we do, how many competitions a year that, we plan on doing, kind of where our point standings were the previous season or currently, and just ask them, would you guys be, interested in teaming up with us for the year and see how it goes?
Welcome to the Pitmasters Podcast. I'm Rusty Monson.
I'm Anthony Lujan.
And today we have Jesse from Sins BBQ out of California. We talk about competition barbecue, his line of rubs. We also talking about how getting sponsorships. I mean, we talk about, as usual, a whole lot of stuff. So let's go. All right, guys, as you know, you can follow us on almost all social media platforms. I need to figure TikTok out, so we'll get on there. The wife does it, and she's getting good at it, but it seems super complicated. This is my first old guy moment.
Right. It's like mini videos, I do believe. I'm not sure.
Snapchat figured it out. It's fine. TikTok, I'm like, what's TikTok? And kids, there's, and I just noticed so many more kids on my lawn these days.
We're going to see Rusty with a whole bunch of filters.
I know. Anyway, anywhere you can listen to the podcast, I'm obviously listening to it now, so it doesn't matter. But, if you ever decide to switch, we're pretty much everywhere. Tell your friends.
Make sure you tell your friends.
Mm-hmm. Yep. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, this Pitmasters Podcast. And we also have a website called thepitmasterspodcast.com where you can literally listen to our podcast, watch our video, buy some gear, find out where we're going, look at pictures of my face, look at Annie's face, and kind of figure out what we're doing.
And also, tag us on some of your guys' cooks. I'd like to see some of your guys' cooks.
Yeah. If you guys ever do anything interesting, we actually had a guy who did tag us on something. That was pretty nice. That made me feel good.
Right?
He's like, look what I learned on the Pitmasters Podcast. And I'm like, cool. Great. That's what we're here for.
So how did this weekend go for you, Rusty?
Good, man.
Yeah.
Super Bowl. The Saints weren't in the Super Bowl, so I was super sad, but I was really going for the Chiefs.
So was I. I was
because of our barbecue brothers in Kansas City.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge Andy Reid fan. I love him. He went to BYU. Even though we don't like BYU, we like the Utes.
Yeah.
It's still cool to have him win a Super Bowl. So that was super cool. We cooked up some brisket. We tried to make some sausage. It was an epic fail.
Oh no. The photos look great.
They look great.
Yeah.
And they were looking great and everything was looking great. So I was taking pictures of everything looking great. And then I ate it. It was like hamburger in a skin. So we're going back to the drawing board on that.
Right.
If anyone has some really good sausage recipes, let me know because I love sausage. It's my favorite. And the second I start making this, I'm going to be in love. So
right.
I need to practice. So we made that. We made some brisket, made some smoked Cheez-Its that I learned from Caitlin. We had Caitlin on the podcast a few podcasts ago. So I took that recipe from her. It's super good. You've done that?
Yeah, I've done it before. Mine are super basic though. I just literally lay the Cheez-Its out, spray some sprayable olive oil on there and my favorite rub, throw it in there for 20, 30 minutes. Done.
And how she does hers, she takes a stick of butter, a packet of ranch, puts it in, boils it down, throws a little bit of soy sauce in it, a little bit of Worcestershire, and a little bit of hot sauce, and then pours it over 2 normal-sized Cheez-It box amounts and just smokes it for about an hour and a half on, 225 degrees?
Nice. Sounds like a lot of work.
So good. It was fun, though. And I did bologna.
Oh.
Bologna sandwiches. And we had nachos from some old brisket, or not, sort of old pulled pork we had. And my wife gets done, and we're like, she's like, this just wasn't as good as last year. We had so many more options.
Oh, man. Ouch.
She doesn't listen to the podcast, so I can say stuff like that.
So
what did you cook?
Nothing.
Oh, nice.
My wife cooked me up some chicken wings.
Did she?
Yeah. I just felt super lazy. It was just a really long week. And, I did buy 75 inches of madness.
Oh, you did get it?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
So I bought me a brand new TV and sound bar, so my whole house shakes while the movie's going or whatever I'm watching. It's pretty awesome, but didn't get into too much cooking this weekend, but been looking at some stuff on getting ready for these SEA events that are coming up. I'm going to start training with my son so he can be on his own, so he's confident enough on the grill, so he's going to be competing against me. So they lowered the age to 13 now in the SEA events.
Mm-hmm.
so they can register for themselves now.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, we got 6 coming up here in a class, so you guys look out. If you guys are near Utah, come on by. Look on the SCA website and find them. There's a whole bunch. I'm also I said on this podcast before, it's my goal. That's my thing. So we're going to bust those out and hopefully become good steak cooks.
I got to practice too, is because I was looking through all the auxiliary competitions with you, and I don't know how good my grilled cheese game is.
My grilled cheese game's on point.
Mine, I can say I made them. I've made them, but I've never put them on competition level. I don't know if I'm going to be like a 6 cheese or, I don't know.
I don't know. I love grilled cheese though.
Right.
But I'm an American cheese guy and I have to, okay, listen, everyone listens. I'm an American cheese guy. Get over it. So American cheese.
Yeah, right. Dress is going to use some of the craft slice singles.
Yes. So I use smoked Gouda from Switzerland. My guys use American cheese. Like, oh, you can call yourself a barbecue man. Anyway.
Yep.
So guys, we are talking with Jesse from Sins BBQ. We had competed with them a couple of times on the road, and we were next to them in Wendover. We hung out with them. We went down to Arizona. They're a very good competition team. Do a lot of good in the community with Jesse's wife and what they're doing. And they have their own line of rubs, seasonings. We'll talk about that. And so let's just get to the interview we have with them, and we'll talk. It's a really good interview. A couple of cool things come up that you don't really think about, like getting sponsorships and stuff. They got some good points there. Anthony gets some points there because these guys do it. I don't. I need to. So I learned a lot from this episode, so we hope you enjoy it. We got Jesse from Sins BBQ team on the line right now. We just want to introduce him, so say hey, Jesse.
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing?
Doing well, man.
Good.
So, Jesse, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, first, I'm a dad of 4. The oldest one's 23. My youngest are twins. They're 16. I'm a general foreman for a structural steel construction company during the day. Husband, father, obviously. We like to go out and play hockey and bike riding and stuff like that. And it's kind of an average, normal dad. And
hockey, that's awesome.
Hockey in California.
You're in California, right?
Yeah, I'm in California. I'm from Temple City, California, kind of like the Pasadena, LA area.
Wow.
And yeah, I've been playing hockey since I was like 12 years old.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Love doing that.
And you have all your teeth?
I have all my teeth, so yeah.
That's awesome. That's how you can enjoy barbecue.
Yeah. Should have lost a few of them, but fortunately I'm lucky and got them all still. My wife has a terminal illness, which is Huntington's disease. It's a neurological disease. So we're really big into supporting that disease and trying to find, a cure and fundraising and stuff like that. That takes up a lot of our time, our free time.
So talk a little bit about that. Finding a cure for that. What do you guys do? What can you do? Can you shout out anyone that might be able to go to and help out?
HDSA.org, which is Huntington's Disease Society of America. They're the biggest organization when it comes to Huntington's disease, finding a cure, research, and raising awareness of it, because a lot of people don't know what the disease is. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to get the word out and make people aware of what it is.
Cool. I'll put that in the show notes. So if anyone listening right now wants to know where that is, they'll just click on the show notes and that'll take you over there. So then we can have that. So that's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's way cool. You guys are doing that.
Yeah.
So, so you live in California. How'd you get into barbecue?
I've always grown up cooking with grandma and grandpa and stuff in the backyard, and was the family cook for, years, doing all the holiday meals and birthday parties and stuff. And then on my 28th birthday, a friend of mine got me a cheap little Brinkman R2D2 looking smoker. And I was like, cool. I'm just playing around with that, and turned into more, friends and stuff asking, hey, can you cook for us? Can you cook for us? Sure, no problem. And one of my friends was, you should start catering. And that's kind of where it turned into us for catering. That way was getting more smokers, building smokers. My background before structural steel construction was fabrication. I was building race cars and stuff like that. So I knew how to weld and was mechanically inclined.
Nice.
So I started building smokers and kind of took off from there.
Nice. So when you jumped in that catering game, what was that like?
Yeah, it was really scary at first. So I wasn't really sure, how to market myself or anything like that. And the more and more we were cooking, the more people were just calling us up and referring, getting referrals and stuff. And it kind of went from there, and it was like, okay, cool. And now it's just like almost second nature. Someone calls for a catering job and we're just right on it.
So talk about that. I guess we'll jump into that right now. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about this catering stuff. So when you're getting into barbecue specifically, if you don't get into catering, right? Let's say you just chop into the barbecue competition side of it. It ain't cheap. You're not, gosh, my last estimation I think on the low end was, I think with travel and everything was $1,200 for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. You got to pretty much budget $1,500 if you're just going to do competition.
So a really good way to offset that if you don't want out of pocket is catering. So what advice would you give to a team that wants to get into catering and kind of make money that way?
Definitely, develop a flavor that's going to be unique to you. One thing, most importantly, turn out a great product and keep people happy. But the more you can get out there and cater, even for friends or small companies and stuff like that, just bank that money and put that aside. So if you're going to get in if you want to get into comp, there's your comp funds. So it's not coming more out of your own pocket.
And one advice I would give, if you're part of the KCBS society, you get a discount. You can get a card from Restaurant Depot. And if you want, I'm sometimes buy my pork butt from there for a competition, but if I'm doing a catering, I'll go there and get some cheap food that offsets those costs. So you can get like some good food there and just go cook it and, save yourself some money too, and make your profit line will be much better.
Well, and also it creates an opportunity too, because when you go into catering, you're a business owner. So you get a business license. And when you go to places like that, you're actually paying tax free. You're not paying for it up front as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
right, exactly.
So that helps with cost as well.
And it's easy to start a business.
If you get, your catering, obviously establish yourself as a business, get your business licenses, get your resale numbers. And then, Restaurant Depot is one of the best places to get meat at.
Yeah, I'm so happy I found that. Someone told me to do that. I'm like, what? We really can? I'm like, heck yeah. So head down there and get our stuff. It's nice too, because they have everything.
Oh, yeah. That's where my pork butts and my ribs for competition come from Restaurant Depot.
Well, they're, at least where we're from, they're prairie fresh. So that's a legit freaking rib and, pork butt. So
and all the guys at Restaurant Depot know when it's competition time. So I'm going through the entire case just looking for ribs and pork butts that are, perfect.
I know. I hate that. I'm like, hey, can I open this case? I'm just going to pick one, and I might not pick one. So but Restaurant Depot is a great place to go to if you want to get some cheap food. That's a really good quality. It's not, they don't cheat. They don't skimp on it. It's good stuff. So
no, not at all. Not at all.
My wife's always like, get something for us. So we do a little shopping there personally too. But I don't know if that's legal. I'm gonna have to edit that out.
No, you're good.
So getting the catering. So what? So if I was to come in as a competition team, how did you get clients? What's a good way to go about getting someone to actually cater?
As like a comp team standpoint.
Yeah, I'm not looking to get into catering per se, but I want to make some money for my competition team. Where do I start? As far as catering goes.
Catering goes. Hit up friends and true friends are going to pay. They're not going to ask for free stuff. Just because let me do your birthday party for you, help cover costs, and maybe throw a little bit of money my way for the time. So just kind of get out there and we used to do a lot of just street vending too. We go post up like at a bar somewhere and talk to the owner and say, hey, we'll give you X amount of dollars for the night to let us sell food here. And that was a great way to make money too, because you can just do a lot of cheap stuff really quick and pump it out.
Wow, I didn't think about that. That's a good idea.
Like out here, a lot of like the micro brews and stuff, they don't have food, so they dig it when barbecue guys come out, because beer and barbecue always goes great together.
So you just go up there and post up with your awnings or your easy ups and stuff, and just have it on hand, probably right there, and just cut it up and slice it, or you cook it on site, or just bring it with you.
Depending on what I'm feeling like cooking, most of the time I'll just I'll post up with the easy up, and I'll bring out my big offset, and I'll just start cooking, a bunch of ribs or tri-tip, or so mainly a lot of stuff that just cooks fairly quick. You don't want to, post up with a raw brisket or a pork butt and go, I'm going to sit here for the next 12 hours and do nothing.
But yeah, especially with the nightclub scene though, you could almost prepare for that, wake up at 1 o'clock. I shouldn't start cooking at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and get rolling.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, you're obviously looking. I don't know what state you're in if you're listening to this, but sometimes I'm sure there's legalities against that. So look into that first.
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, you definitely want to make sure that you're complying with the health department and whatever city or county laws are with vending. We happen to get lucky out here that a lot of times we go to places and they'll already have a licensed kitchen. So it's perfect. We can do all of our prep and everything in there and just work off of their permit, even though I do have a TFS, a temporary food permit. But a lot of times the health department, as long as you're complying with all the health and safety stuff and they have a license, they're really cool.
Right.
Also, we were talking off before we called you about so you can do caterings. Let's just kind of run through those. So you can do caterings. You can do little vending things like you just said. You could just sell meat. Again, this is all the legalities of your state, but you can freeze or vacuum seal up some meat and pre-sell it to people too. We know people who did that.
There's a lot of guys who will sit there and post up, hey, I got racks of ribs for sale today, $25 a rack.
Right.
Yeah. Or just, exactly. Come on by. You want dinner tonight? Here you go. People love that, man.
Yeah.
They get all over it. And so vending down, what was I going to say? So let's run through that. Making money.
Making money. Yeah.
But it's hard because a lot of people can't. And I think the number one reason teams don't go and they don't compete is because it does cost so much money. It's fun and they want to do it. But, and another thing is getting sponsors. We're talking about that before we called you.
Right.
So getting you sponsor people because you guys have a spice and you guys do seasonings, rubs, and sauces, and you actually do some sponsoring too. So how would that work for a team coming to? I don't know. You might have a sponsor. Do you have another sponsor? Because I know you flash Royal Oak a lot. Is that? Something?
Yeah, I have Royal Oak charcoal, Flame Boss for my controllers, lumberjack pellets for my pellet cooker. Last 3 years I've been with Big Frig coolers. So that helps with the ice chest and stuff. And, all my sponsors are all product sponsors. I don't have any financial sponsors, but product, is sometimes better than a money sponsor.
Right.
So I was talking to Anthony, who also has a bunch of sponsors. Salt City Barbecue has not. We don't have any. Chad, our guy, he loves the sponsors bit, but I'm always shutting him down because I'm like, let's just cook food.
Right.
But now I'm looking more into it a little bit because I'm starting to hear these things like, okay, well, how do you? But I don't know how to do it. What do you do? I mean, this is another good opportunity for someone just coming into the scene. Maybe they could send out to get. How does someone go about getting a sponsor?
What I did is, I first was starting to look at sponsors. I send them an email and just kind of give them a rundown of who I am, what we do, how many competitions a year that, we plan on doing, kind of where our point standings were the previous season or currently, and just ask them, would you guys be, interested in teaming up with us for the year and see how it goes?
Right.
And, 9 times out of 10, you may get an answer back, no, we're not interested. Who are you? You're not big enough. But you'll get those 1 or 2 that'll be like, yeah, we'd love to come on board.
And just a little bit on touching on the sponsor stuff too is you don't want to go like for example, Rusty doesn't have any sponsors. He doesn't want to go straight up and hit up the biggest person out there in barbecue and hey, I'm a new team. I'm just very good at rolling, but can I get a sponsor? I actually recommend.
So I went to Jambo and I'm like, listen,
exactly.
I want a free Jambo.
Yeah, that does not work, Rusty. But I found out starting off local, like people in your area maybe would be better off approaching you within the region versus going out and trying to go for blues hogs right out the gate. I think shopping local and getting local companies to back you as you get rolling and started is a good starting point.
Yeah, that's definitely because then you work a relationship with them, and with people locally, you see them more, and which actually then could possibly lead to future catering jobs if that's what you want to go with too.
Right.
And so the catering and the vending and stuff kind of give you some money, but reaching out and saying your goals, like you said, can give you some cool stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a fire boss. I got a guru. Those are expensive.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
fire bosses. Yeah. They're
$360 for the units now. And
I mean, so that's a really nice thing to have, to use. And that offsets a lot of that cost, and that ups your game. So, I mean, it's a free, easy way. I mean, talking to hockey, Wayne Gretzky, you miss every shot you don't take, so.
Exactly. That's why I said, just contact people. The one thing, like when you're talking about how I sponsor teams, which I do, I get a lot of people who just hit me up and all they want is free stuff. And you also have to be able to market for those companies as well, and not just go, I want free stuff.
Right.
All the like Royal Oak and Flame Boss, I was using before I was sponsored by them. So it's kind of like I knew what the products did, and I stand behind the products that I'm sponsored by too, which is a big thing.
Yes, and I went through that a little bit as myself. As I was super excited, gung ho, went through the motions, got the product, and was using them, and then I wasn't getting the calls and stuff I was wanting to go for, and I'm like, okay, I gotta swing another direction and go and find some products that I really stand behind versus just trying to get product.
Right. Yeah. You just go, I just want free stuff. Like,
yeah.
Well, that's great, but do you understand how that product works?
Yes.
That's why Jambo hasn't gotten back to me.
You haven't cooked on a Jambo before.
That's true.
Yeah.
Or a steak burner at all. So, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, bring it back home. Bring it back home there, Rusty.
I know,
start
right?
off with something local.
Gateway,
But you have
Salt City Drum
Yeah,
Smokers.
exactly. There you go. You started off with something local. You're using it, getting behind it.
I think Trevor's going to want me to win some stuff first, though.
Yes.
That's okay. That'll happen. It'll happen next week in Bullhead. I'm just going to come in, GC that whole thing.
There you go.
Start collecting my sponsorships and royalties and all that stuff.
You start racking it up.
Yeah.
So a couple things you can do, like getting sponsors helps. Even if you're a new team, guys, just reach out and touch those people. Well, okay, don't. But email them. Email them. Call them.
Text them.
Talk to them. I mean, we talk to ThermoWorks, and they don't sponsor us, but we're an affiliate program.
Right.
So we get great discounts from them, but we also can sell their product and make money. So if anytime we send a link out to someone, they click on it, they buy from ThermoWorks, that's a thing. So they're not yet sponsoring us, but at the same time, we do get some cool kickbacks. So even if they're not sponsoring you, they can be affiliate, or they can give you discounts or different stuff like that. So that's going to help. You also can, like I said, catering is the biggest one.
Absolutely. Catering is such a huge income when it comes to this.
I mean, it's crazy.
It is very addictive and expensive sport that we're in. One
mistake I made, though, I want to point out with catering, we got super fancy and we're going to do our competition recipe. No. Don't do that. We learned real quick not to, man. Now we just put the salt. We just Texas style. I mean, this is kind of the stuff you can get. We just did a catering for $1,700 and it was just 45 people. And we did all that stuff. And we made a lot of money. We went to Restaurant Depot. We did we just dumped it all down and we made a good chunk of money. And we paid for an entire competition, which sounds weird to say, but that's still competitions cost you a lot of money. And we don't skim. We use A9 briskets. We sometimes use Compart pork. If you guys are listening out there, we use your product. Yeah, just kidding. But anyway, so we do use a lot of like high end stuff. So it's more expensive for us, I think. And so those caterings really help offset the cost.
Yeah. And then it kind of refers back to our Chad Ward episode too. We have the catering bin. So you try some rubs and you're like, oh, this isn't competition quality. Throw it into your catering bin, like literally mix all these rubs up together, and that will cut some cost in your catering as well.
Yep.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, go ahead, Jesse.
Or make your own.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was going to lead into right there.
Yeah.
Is I tried to make my own in our first backyard competitions. We made our own barbecue seasonings and sauces, and I thought they were great, and they are good. They weren't competition style though, so I got super discouraged and I stopped. But I really want to get back into making my own seasonings and sauces and just kind of work on that. I have this dream of at least one meat where I use all local products like Hook Spices, Hay Grill Hay, Wasatch Back, all these guys locally where everything I use is theirs and we're winning competitions would be great. But you, Jesse, you make your own and you sell them, and you also do some sponsoring and stuff like that too. So walk us through how that got started. with your spices and stuff?
Yeah. So the rubs pretty much started off as my catering flavor. I playing around with just different combinations of stuff, and that's how I made my all-purpose. Excuse me. Was more of, we're going to be doing larger catering, events. I mean, I was doing 100, 200, 300 people events. So for me to go out and buy a bunch of rubs, I was going to be like, this is costly. I can make, a 10-pound batch of rub for $10, $12. And so it kind of started going with that. I was like, this flavor is really good and it's unique. And no one else has the flavor, and people were loving it. So that was kind of like how I started with mine, was more of just, how can I cut costs to maximize my profits?
Right.
So
and then
you just started going with you start with an all-purpose rub, and that's so.
Yeah.
I kind of want to pause there for just a second. So when you're developing a rub, what does that process look like? A lot of people think, like, oh, I just put some stuff together from whatever. I mean, what was the trial and error there?
It was a lot of, okay, what flavor do I want to try to achieve? First of all, do I want a sweet? Do I want heat? Do I want, super hot, spicy? Do I want super salty? So it's kind of just sitting there. I just went into the kitchen and opened up the pantry and was like, all right, I got brown sugar, I got garlic, I got honey, or I got onion, I got some salt, some black pepper, kind of get that little base going, and then just start adding, maybe some cumin or maybe some garlic salt or something, just to kind of, and then little bit of time, and then taste it. And the one biggest thing is, when you're making a rub, if you're tasting it dry, it's going to change when you're cooking it.
Right.
So I'd kind of just write down what I put in the small batch and grab, some rib tips or something like that, and cut them up into 4 or 5 different sections and just try different flavors and mark them.
Right. And then I'm also looking at your rubs right now. I haven't tasted all of them, but they're super, like, they're not complex on the bases, I'm just looking by the colors, and you don't have, like, in your beef rub, you're not having like parsley flakes and just anything like that. You're keeping it real basic, and it looks like it's actually a great base to start off with, as you can build your bark as you go.
Exactly. I mean, like, my beef rub is a pretty basic salt, pepper, garlic, onion, and there's a couple other little things in there, but I tried to keep it as basic as possible. And the one thing I was doing more of is, what can I make a rub out of, or what can anybody make a rub that's in your kitchen already?
Right.
Without having to go like online and looking for all these different spices and stuff, and go, I have this here, I can mix this up at home.
Yeah.
So how much meat did you do? Is that a long process, or did you get lucky?
The all-purpose took me about 4 months to get dialed in. My beef and my pork rub, actually, I got really lucky, and it was the second try. They were both like, I was happy with them.
Oh.
My pork rub, I made it, and I sent out a bunch of little samples to people and said, give me your feedback. And everyone was like, this is pretty good. It's just salty. I said, cook with it first, because the salt went away.
Right.
And then I started just using them in competition. First time I used my pork rub was at Newport Beach, like 2016, I think it was. And we took a 4th in pork with that rub. Like, cool. Yeah. It works.
Right.
And that's when I started making more like competition flavors in at that point.
And I'm a big fan of, I just buy my rubs. Like, I've made my own rubs. I made my own sauces, and my family loves them. They're like, you should use these as a competition. And I'm like, I'm too lazy to make them and get enough for competition. Because when you go for sauces and stuff like that, you need quite a bit of product. And you spend 3 days on it doing it, and it's extremely difficult. But I'd like to find people like you that have a nice solid base, salt, pepper, garlic, and then you can run with it and say, hey, I want to add a little bit of, ancho chilies to it for coloring. It's good to have good base companies out there that are solid.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, and that's even like for competition, like my sauces, it's 90% my sauce, but then I'm cutting it with other stuff as well, just for, that's what the judges like. So you got to kind of know, your profiles too.
Yeah.
It would be so expensive.
Yeah.
To make your own layers of everything, I could see using my own stuff and then coming over the top with Blues Hog or whatever, just because that's the belly of the beast.
Yeah, I mean, unless you want to spend a few grand and go get blue salt reverse engineered,
right?
But,
break it down scientifically.
You just need to get that just on one of those like 5-gallon water jugs of Blue Hogs if you want to just run it all the time.
One book I learned from Malcolm Reed, listen to his podcast, is he dropped Paul Kirk's Championship Barbecue Sauces. It's a book that he basically lays it all out for you. He's like, here's what you do. This is how you make sauces. This is what you do. And it gives you these recipes and you can build off them and stuff. So that's a pretty cool one. It does take a lot though. I mean, even me working through those recipes that he's giving me, I make them and yeah, all right. Now I see myself like you did 4 months in the lab trying to do all this stuff. I really just resigned myself to just buying stuff from people like you, because at this point, and it's just kind of, for me, I just take the Johnny Trigg approach and be like, you know what, there's people out there that do it better than me. I don't have to worry about it. I just go buy it and that's it.
And then honestly, if you do it at home, here's the hard part, especially where competition is like, how do I transport it? Now I don't have any bottles. You don't have anything to reheat it. So buying it from people like you makes it so much easier. I can throw it in my toolbox or whatever I have and go. And I know it's there and it's going to be contained.
You know what it is. You know what profilers are getting. Exactly.
It's consistent every time.
That's exactly it right there. It's consistent every time. Even making it at home, you may do something that's just a slightly different, and it's going to change everything.
And so you do a little sponsorships with these too. Did you still doing those?
Oh yeah. I have 2 teams out in Australia right now that one took this year 2nd overall in Australia, 1st in New South Wales. And my other team took 5th overall in Australia and 1st in Queensland. So
nice.
They've been kicking ass out there. And I mean, not only do I sponsor them, we've just developed a really good relationship and we're like brothers.
Nice, man. And that we'll bring this up again, but your website is 7sinsbbq.com. That's 7, the number 7, sinsbbq.com.
Yep.
So you can go check those guys out, and they have a lot of stuff you can actually order online and get a sweet ass hat.
Yeah,
maybe you should bring one out of bull hat. Actually, this sucks, man. I have the biggest head ever. I'm like, that's a cool hat. I'd wear that hat. Nope. What
size is your head on a fitted hat?
Big ass.
So
right now I'm wearing my PK hat now, right? And it's a snapback. It's on the very last snap.
So that's like one of my sons. He's got a big head too, and he wears his on the last snap.
My sombrero might fit. My barbecue hat might fit you well.
Yeah, I would never wear that. So yeah, you guys can go there and check some stuff out. They've got a couple sauces, 2 of them to be exact, and about 6 or 7 seasonings: pecan, cherry, like a cow beef rub, pork rub, and all-purpose, like you were talking about. So yeah, go check that out.
And then
that Water Cows and espresso chili beef rub. That's
really
great. Yeah,
nice. Do you have any?
What's that?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead with what you're saying.
I was going to say, that's actually, I use that on my A9 briskets for comp. So
yeah, I was going to say, like espresso rubs on briskets is delish.
Yeah, it kicks ass.
Right. And then what I was wondering is, you can say it if you want or not, but do you have anything else in the works currently? Like anything that's in the lab currently?
Actually, yeah, I'm working on a peach rub right now for ribs and pork.
Nice.
Dude, peaches. I tried, a peach sauce from Hey Girl Hey, and that's become my favorite. And peach everything now. Where did we? Oh, the peach. This sounds weird, but we had a shot of peach whiskey in St. George. I'm like, dude, peach is the jam. And I know like a lot of teams out there using peach wood too. So peach might be the new.
I think it's because it's a subtle sweet. You bring your cherries in and you're like, oh, that's cherry. You bring apricot. Peach is just really fine lined, really subtle.
One thing I was going to say though is cook with your sauces. You guys going to do something, cook with it, like you keep on saying, Jesse. Because Simply Marvelous sauce, seasonings, they literally smell like butthole, but they taste so good.
Yeah,
right.
You might smell it and go, whoa, but then you put that thing on freaking your ribs, man, boom. So
that's how I'm with Womp sauce. Womp sauce I do not like, but until it's on the meat.
Womp sauce on your meat is great.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say on that
one. So anyways, let's start. We hit catering. We've hit the rubs and spices. Let's get into maybe some competition stuff.
Well, Australia's talking about that for a second.
That's a good spart.
I love sparting, so we're going to spart there. So
starting.
You went over to Australia recently and did some competitions?
Yeah, we went out there 2017. Basically, we got invited for their big end of year invitational. And as I was told by them, the reason we got the invite was because we are the most winningest rub and sauce producer in Australia.
Oh, wow. That's very cool.
Awesome.
So with the teams that I sponsor, plus everybody else who's buying it out there, people are winning with it. So we got the invite. We landed out there. It was kind of cool. We landed we left here Wednesday night, landed there Friday morning. Friday afternoon, we were rolling into a comp.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So it was just like, there's no time for jet lag. Let's cook.
Yeah.
Right.
Stop right there just real quick. I'm just curious. You're flying in to Australia. Are you contacting your friends saying, hey, I need smokers. Hey, can you go pick this meat up for me? Like, how is that going down?
Yeah. So one of my actually my third team now over there, he lives in Victoria. He had hit me up and goes, hey, what are your specs on your drums? He wanted to start building them. And I didn't think anything of it. So I sent him over all my specs and stuff and pictures. And then my other buddy's like, hey, we got your cookers taken care of. You know, you're all lined up. Don't worry. You're going to teach a couple classes. That's how you're going to get your meats. Like, okay, cool. And so when we rolled up, I had these two really bitchin' red and black drums with 7 Sins logos on them that he had built for me out there.
Nice.
Way cool.
So yeah, I was like, great. I said, not only just I sponsor them, but they have become family, and these guys are just phenomenal people.
Man, that's what I need. Yeah. So is he held on to them, or do you still have them out there in case you ever want to fly out?
They're still out there. So
nice.
Actually, one of my New South Wales guy is cooking on those right now. He put those on his trailer, and he's using those this year.
Sweet.
Way nice.
And then so for meat selection out there too, what was that like, or was that already, did they get that for you as well?
I already was told that, by teaching a couple of classes out there, that whatever meats I needed, they'll take care of. So it was one of the classes were over at a butcher shop in Queensland, and they had, Robbins Island 9+ Wagyu brisket sitting there waiting for you to pick out. Borrowdale, which is like their kind of like their compart ribs.
Right.
Rack sitting there and pork sitting there, and their chicken was there. Just, take your pick what you need.
Nice. So, I know Australia is really kind of new on the American barbecue styles. So I'm just wondering, like, when you go and get a brisket in Australia, is it pretty similar cut to like how we do in the United States? Or are they doing any goofy different style cutting, like on your porks or anything like that? Or was it just kind of, you opened the pack and it was exactly what you expected?
Now it's exactly like it's here.
Okay.
When they were first getting it, a lot of the butchers didn't have any clue how to cut a St. Louis rib, or even, they leave so much belly meat on those ribs that you couldn't use them. You're just taking off a ton of meat. They were cooking they're cutting their cuts more of how the people wanted them. Briskets, a lot of times they would just chop them up and use them for grind, for burgers or for meat pies and stuff like that. So with the teams over there who have really gotten into American style barbecue, they've taught the butchers how the cuts are supposed to be, and now they're on it just like us.
Nice.
So what's the competition scene like over there?
It's just like here. It's identical to here. The only big difference over there is they cook lamb as well as that's one of the stand-ins. So
5 meats, or do they sub one?
Yeah. Sometimes they'll do 5, sometimes they'll do 7 meats. They'll have like a seafood and maybe something else. Usually, most times they'll just drop pork. They'll do your brisket, your ribs, your chicken, and then maybe lamb. There's sometimes most of them are 5 meat usually.
Nice. And do they have a sanctioning body like the KCBS over there? I know the KCBS is over there, but do they have a different one as well? Yeah, they have the ABA, which is the Australasian Barbecue Association, and they pretty much, their format is same as KCBS. The only other difference is, we get 30 minutes in turn-ins, they get 45 minutes between. Oh, that'd be nice.
I don't know if that would be though.
No, like literally, no. Chicken and ribs and pork is their tight window. Just I don't know for some in my camp there, but brisket I'm waiting forever just to get that turned in.
I always feel like there's so much time between brisket for me. It's like I'm like waiting. I'm like
Yeah, it's really.
Well, you have 24 hours for chicken turn-in, if you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're basically the same over there. We're talking to Smitty. He's over there a lot in Australia. He says a lot of the same things you are. He brought up the lamb part. But do you see a lot of teams out there? They're still on the rise.
They're still climbing up. There's quite a few teams out there right now, but they're still definitely growing. Nice. And it's just way cool. It was awesome to be out there. And I was out there with Smitty at the Invitational. That was cool to be, 2 American teams out there, and it was somebody I knew and we're friends with. So I was like, awesome, even better.
That's way cool.
So obviously I'm thinking Australia is the entire country, but is there any cities that are just latching onto it? Like, when people talk about barbecue in America, they always going straight to like Austin, Kansas City, Memphis. Is there any cities out there that are kind of grabbing that? You got to go to Sydney for the best barbecue. Is there anything going like that?
Yeah and no. I mean, they pretty much are mimicking our Texas style and our Kansas City style and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, Black Bear Barbecue in Sydney is probably the best barbecue joint in New South Wales that I know of. And then over in Queensland, over at Low and Slow Meat Company, they do daily vending and stuff like that. And so, I mean, they're putting out top quality stuff to it. And I mean, the meat quality is such a difference here than here.
It was weird.
Yeah.
That's weird because I don't know, 10 years, even 5 years ago, you would ask me who are the barbecue capitals of the world? America would be first, man. I don't think Australia would be, it'd be second or third, and to hear that they're still learning is weird to me, So,
yeah.
I mean, it's cool. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they've all barbecued. I mean, I'm sure it's a thing, but I'm sure they do it much different than we did. Probably more authentically, fire pit stuff.
Yeah.
But to have them competition barbecue, I thought that'd be a way ahead of the curve, which is cool. I'm glad everything's coming along over there. It seems to be a very, very, very up and coming place. A lot of people are heading over to Australia, doing classes in Australia. I mean, sanctioned bodies, all these teams that are coming out of Australia that are good. Like, I think it's Barbecue Mafia's out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barbecue Mafia's out of there.
So that's cool, man.
Yeah, there's some phenomenal teams. I mean, they come over here and they're hanging just with us. So I mean, it shows you that these guys can cook as well.
Right. There was a team at the Jack from Australia, right? Who was that?
There's a couple.
Yeah, a couple teams.
Yeah, there's a couple teams from Australia.
Yeah.
I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
I'd listen to a podcast from over there called I listened to he does a lot of bunch stuff. Mostly he does
Smoking Hot Confessions.
Smoking Hot Confessions. Yeah, that guy's a really good dude. And
Ben's a great guy.
Yeah, he's really helping with that whole scene out there. And he's in America a lot. He's coming in over for all of our stuff, and he flies over for all the awards and stuff. And it's a really cool podcast.
His wife is American.
Oh, okay. So Smoking Hot Confessions is a really good podcast. If you guys need something else to listen to, I highly suggest that one. I pop into that one every once in a while. But yeah, he does a good job talking about, you'd think Australian barbecue, but a lot of the stuff he talks about obviously is American stuff, but we're very similar. It's a very similar situation. So
yeah.
How did your barbecue stand out there in the competition side? I'm just curious because
our best call was a 5th and brisket.
Okay.
Everything else was, I was pretty much right in the middle. And, we had 50 of the top teams in Australia plus, loot and booty.
Right.
And so, I was happy. I loved getting that 5th place call in brisket. And that was, my flat was so tight, but my burn-ins were perfect. And I just turned in 9 burn-ins.
Heck yes. Yeah. There you go. We always talk about wanting to just turn in burnt ends. And everyone's like, I've never seen it before. And I'm like, whatever, dude.
Put 9, they were just big fat pillows.
There you go.
And judges liked them.
So let's move back to America now. So we're back in America. Yeah. We're doing competitions. So you do quite a bit competition side. So you've come here to Utah a couple of times, Arizona. Mostly California, I'm assuming.
Yeah, mostly all California, and then Arizona, and definitely Utah. That Windover comp's an awesome comp as well.
It's over now.
Yeah, it's over now.
Yeah, unfortunately.
They have a lot coming around, though. Yeah. They're looking to get into doing something hopefully similar to that. But cool. You guys friggin' crush chicken.
Yeah, tell us about this chicken as much as you want to, I should say. Tell us about some processes.
Basically, I kind of went back to just basics on chicken. You know, I mean, everyone's doing, you know, thighs in these little muffin pans and stuff like that. I like cooking legs. I've cooked legs the last couple of years, and I just watched my results get better and better as I started getting legs perfected. So I just kept it really simple. Didn't overly rub them, and didn't, you know, put a real heavy sauce on there to make them look all just, you know, real saucy. Just kind of want them to look like chicken.
Right.
So you do legs, because that's good to know, because that's what that's what I'm trying to venture into.
Yeah.
Because we had some around, and we're like, let's try legs. So we throw them on we're doing a competition and practice, and we're doing the exact same way we do our competition. Problem is that skin pulled way up, but it was so good. And so I wanted to get a lot of advice. So I actually went on to a barbecue competition Facebook page recently and asked for some advice, and a lot of people gave some real good ones. Mm-hmm. But so what tips can you give someone? Because legs, go ahead, everyone out there to YouTube legs competition. There's no videos. Not really. No. Go look. It's so no one talks about it.
Only person that I know that does legs is Heath Riles.
Doesn't have a video on it.
Yeah, it doesn't have a video on it.
So
true.
Yeah, I'm working on a leg video we're gonna start doing a YouTube here pretty soon. So there'll be something out there.
Nice.
But mainly, so my legs I always cook on my pellet grill. It's just a nice, even, consistent temp. And that seems to really help with that skin pullback, because it's not getting too hot to where it's shrinking up.
And are you setting it first? Are you setting that sauce, the skin first, or are you bathing it right away?
No, I'll use a half pan, and I'll put, 6 legs in a half pan. So when I'm doing my selection on everything, after I get it all rubbed up and stuff, and I kind of put 3 half pans together, and I do 18 legs and kind of size them all up and stuff like that. And then I'll just put 1 stick of butter in each pan. So I'm not overly, soaking them in butter as well.
Nice. And what temp are you cooking at?
I go 300.
Nice.
So yeah, the person, the advice that they gave me is they peel the skin back very carefully. They jacquard the meat, and then they'll put it back on. So a couple people cut off about a 1/4 inch on the top so that skin will overlap and come over the top. Some people say they don't do that. Other people say they cut off the tendon. Some people say they don't. And everyone says they don't, so they never had any problems. Then they'll put that skin back on real nice and keep that overlay on it. And then they'll jacquard the chicken again with the skin on it. Because it's not like thighs. You're not like taking the skin off and scraping off all that fat.
Well, that was exactly.
So you got to do something.
That was one reason why I really want to do legs, was I was tired of sitting there scraping skins.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I don't jacquard it at all. I'll peel it back. I'll, clean them up as much as I can, kind of round out the ends of it. If I can, I'll give it a squeeze. And if there's usually like one little tendon that'll pop up through the knuckle, I'll pull that one out if I see it, and then just pull that skin super tight and let them ride.
Nice. You're not pinning them down with toothpicks or anything like that. I'm highly against toothpicks myself. Don't put anything in that you could forget. But you just,
that's what I say exactly. And you got to do that. And then next thing you know, you put it in the box. Now you got a DQ.
Yeah.
Right. So then put it back on, and it's crazy because every single person I talk to, literally everyone, say when they switched over to legs, their scores went up.
Yep.
And you guys average about 172 on your chicken. I mean, you guys got some really high ones too, some way up there. So I mean, did you been doing legs all year, or is this something you just switched over to recently?
No, I've been doing legs the last 2 years. Oh, okay. And the first year was I was getting a lot of that skin pullback because I was cooking those on my drum and stuff like that. I'm like, why is it, and I'd start looking at my Flame Boss graphs and my temps are spiking up or something, not being a consistent temp. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's just getting too hot. They're shrinking up and then for 2019, I switched over to the pellet grill, and I mean, it just fell into line.
Cool. Nice. Cause I'm going to switch over. I mean, that's the goal for Bullhead is we're using thighs, and then we're probably going to switch over to legs after that. And so we have 3 months off. So we have a lot of time to prepare, but then we hit hard. I mean, gosh. And in May, it's like, see you, wife.
And once
see
again,
November.
rolling back to saving costs. Legs are cheaper than thighs.
So much cheaper than thighs.
You can get 18 pack of Sam stuff for like $6.
Right.
Literally $6. Yeah. That's crazy. So, what are you cooking on? Like you do make your own drums. You kind of mentioned that. What's your setup? I mean, what do you got? Obviously you use Royal Oak. So what are you cooking on?
Okay. So we can go back to the catering side. So the catering side, I'm cooking on my big 500-gallon stick burner that I built as well. And that one's, Royal Oak. And then I'll go down to the woodshed over here in Orange County and get hickory or pecan or peach wood and throw some logs in there as well. That's my big catering cooker because I can fit a ton of meat in that thing. Right. And then for competition, I'm cooking on my 55-gallon drums that I build. We're starting to sell those as well. They've been doing really, really good. And my Smoking Brothers pellet for my chicken. And then I'll use that to warm my sauces and stuff back up on.
Dude, those pellets, everyone's using for chicken now lately, but they're the sauces, eating sauces, it's so nice.
Yeah. Yeah. You throw them on there and give them a stir and they're good to go. Yeah. And definitely Royal Oak, is always and even before I was sponsored with them, that's all I used. When I first started was Royal Oak Lump Coal. Yeah. So I've been, we've been competing now. This is our 7th year and I've been catering for 10.
Yeah. So and then you're traveling light as well too. You're cooking under 10 by 10s as well, right? Or you? For the most part. I mean, we just picked up this year, 16-foot enclosed trailer, so that definitely helps for all of our prep and storage and stuff like that. And then I can just pull the 10 by 10 out and cook under there. But because we also do People's Choice vending at comps, which is another way to make money, but it's also a way to get sidetracked from competing as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's actually a really good point to bring up. And there's a comp in Boise, Idaho called Bands and Brew. And it's one of my favorite comps to do. And they allow you to vend and the people will come and you set your own prices and they kind of come with this fake money kind of thing. And you can literally sit there and just vend all your food out and literally make your money back. I mean, if you come prepared enough, you could literally come away from the comp completely actually in the green, So comps like that, look for that stuff when you're doing competitions. Sometimes they're headed under People's Choice or samples. Yep. And those samples can be sold. So keep in mind that sometimes that's
maybe I've never done it, but it just kind of flicked in my mind that maybe you bring somebody along that can just concentrate on that People's Choice stuff like that. Somebody who knows how to cook already. You just like, hey, come with me to this competition. I want you just to concentrate on the vending side, and you can stay concentrated on the comp side and help on the vend side when you have that minute of opportunity.
Exactly. That's kind of like how, Rusty, when we were talking earlier about, you said the size of my team. Yeah. We have a huge team because they handle all the PC stuff. So it's like, it does definitely take away, that stress, but you're still, even if you're trying to focus on the comp side of it, it's still in the back of your mind.
Right. And let's touch on that team part. Like, talk about your team. How many people got on there? See, like I met you guys in Wendover and it was a small little group, and then all of a sudden you had the Wu-Tang Clan out there, like 15 members.
That was like that's like barely half of our normal crew too. So basically, I mean, my team consists of mainly all family. We met at Wendover. It was me and my wife, and then my buddy Roger, who is also a comp cook with Double Barrel Smokers out of Orange County. He's been the last couple of years. He's just jumped over with me, and it's been great because he is a good cook. He's actually a great cook, and so I can turn him loose on the PC side of stuff and not worry about it. And then my sister, my kids all come out and help us. It's really a big family event. And then the bigger competitions, like we do Santa Anita or like Big Bear, where you're just vending like crazy. I'll have 6 or 7 other friends and stuff come out and, hey, can you guys help? You're going to make money at the end of the day. I always try to make sure I pay everybody if we can. And, if it's a slow event, you can't pay somebody, at least make it up some other way. Hey, I can give you food. I'll take care of hotels or, something like that too.
Definitely. And I I'm going to throw this out for Rusty. If you ever need a PC cook, let me know because I'll travel with you to do that.
Right. I mean, it's nice because we have 3 people on our team, and sometimes it seems like it was a lot. In Boise, in that case, we only had 2, and it was funny because we didn't quite understand the rules. So we're just like, oh, here you go, can sell it for any amount you want. I'm like, oh crap, ribs, $3. So,
well, you weren't prepared for it either, too. But if you look at it, you're like, okay, I'm going to do this so I can bring more meat with me. Boise, you probably did not expect that.
And we had a line out the door, man. It was wrapped around. It was crazy. We sold out, and we had so much food left over, and we literally it was gone in 7-8 minutes.
Oh, it's insane how fast when those lines start forming, how fast you're just pumping through food.
So let's talk a little bit about team management, since we all here have teams, and a lot of people are, husband and wife crews. Sometimes, a lot of times it's just them by themselves. Few have anyone more than 2 people on their team. I noticed that for me, it was just like, I wanted to help. I want to make it easy. I want to go out and have fun. And I love to cook and I like all that, but I also don't want to go there and just stress the whole time and be busy. I want to be able to split that up and relax a little bit and have a good time, and execute at the same time. So that was me. That was my motivation. And for us, how we break it down is like, I finance the team, so I get the money back until, if we make anything over, we don't. We were fortunate enough for our first year to be able to pay ourselves back and essentially have the entire season be free. So it was awesome.
Nice. That's always cool.
And so we made enough money that way. That's not always the case. So sometimes people bring in people for financial relief and stuff like that. So sometimes I'll at first I was paying for as much as I can. Now we're trying to split up costs such as gas and hotel rooms and stuff like that. I know that Anthony has a different process in that. So let's just talk about that. For me, it was like, I want to do barbecue. You guys want to come along? Sure. Cool. Here's the rules. Like we're not going to make money at this. So there's no money involved. So.
Yeah. Well, for me, I've always ran just my wife and my cousin, and my cousin is more the artistic guy of the side. I put the meat in the box and he fixes it. That's what it is. But this year, our first competition, I brought on a new team member, and I knew he was a good cook in the 2 categories, and it was so much pressure relieved off my shoulder. Like when he was doing his chicken and ribs, I didn't even go in the tent and watch or anything. I was just like, oh, is it ready to turn in? I'll walk it, and it took so much pressure off me. So when you have the Wu-Tang Clan.
But let's stay with you for a second, because you have an interesting way of how paying out your team.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
How it pretty much breaks down is I fronted most of this one. We're going to break it down a little bit, but how we decided to do it. All the money goes to entry fee first. And then after, if we hit entry fee, then it goes to the individual cook of that category to recuperate all of his costs, and whatever else is left over, we'll chop up. So it's cost of the contest, then your individual category, and then
your team buys their own meat for their respective category.
Yep, exactly. So just bring your receipts to the table, and we'll make sure that entry fees first, though, because that's
whatever's left you divvy, and then whatever's left you split.
Yeah,
between the team.
Yep. So
how's that work with you then, Jesse?
I'm 100% financing everything. So I'm entry fees, fuel. Most time people, they'll ride up with me. Now, if one of my teammates is taking their own vehicle, they usually they'll take care of their own fuel. But yeah, all the meats, entry fee, hotels if we're out of town, I'm paying for. So that's kind of like what Anthony's saying. You definitely, once I make back entry fees and meat and all my expenses, if there's any left over, that's when I'll share it with everyone.
And so I let them keep their hardware too. So
yeah, hardware. Yeah, they earn their hardware as well.
So if we win brisket, Jared gets his trophy and he gets to take that home. And it sounds like nothing, but man, for me, that's all of it. That's it. That's what you do it for.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, that was like this year. I brought in Ray Salazar with Smoking Ray's Backyard Barbecue, and the comps that he was able to make it to, he was handling chicken and ribs. And him and I, we run the exact same recipes. So it wasn't like anything's changing at all. And then I would handle brisket and pork. But then there was times where he couldn't make it. He couldn't get off work or something like that. So I would just do all 4 like I usually do. But yeah, anytime he got a call, he was keeping that award.
Yeah, and there's some people that do it different. It's like everyone splits it all the way down the side, whatever. Everyone splits it. If I was starting out and I wasn't able to do what I can do, it would literally be everyone, here's the cost. you want to come along, you're taking X amount of it. We're just going to split it all up. So that's the benefit of having a team. Sometimes there's twofold. For me, one, they can offset costs. Two, they make it an easier and funner and experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Except
for Rusty, he doesn't have too much experience on the road with his team. They all pass out on him.
Oh my God.
When they're there, he has a great time. Just getting there is a whole different ballgame.
Jared sleeps the whole time because I'm not listening to emo music. And Chad's back on his phone watching wrestling videos.
Or Incubus videos.
Or something. I'm driving. And then they get mad at me for listening to the music I want to listen to. I don't understand.
Yeah. But I'm driving. I got to stay awake.
Right. You guys aren't doing anything for me. Jared, the Patriots fans, falling asleep to the Patriots Dolphins game.
Well, anybody should fall asleep to that. Well, not last.
Yeah.
Anyways, back on track.
Sorry, I had to vent a little bit, guys. Sorry.
So do you, as you have a lot of help, do you delegate a job to them? Like, hey, during turn-ins, I need you to go and reset the turn-in table, make sure it's cleaned up, ready to go. Hey, can you do fire management? Do you break it up to anything like that?
So yeah and no. I mean, we kind of get there Friday and we get a game plan down of who's kind of doing what. And usually Saturday at, 12 o'clock or 11:45 when chicken's being done, I'm looking over and I'm watching my offset temps drop and say, dude, who's got the charcoal in there? Who's taking care of fire? Who's doing this? So I try to delegate work, but usually I end up, that's what I was saying, it's still in the back of your mind as a comp cook doing PC and stuff is you're still reminding people because people will sit there and they'll hang out and they'll start talking and drinking. And It's like, we're on a business trip, guys. We're, got to have at least some seriousness with it, even though it is all about having fun. But at the end of the day, you're here to hear your name called at the end of it all.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, you're here to work, really. Yeah.
It was exactly. And that's it. We're here to work. And at 1:31 after brisket's in and you're here competing, dude, have fun, crack a beer, crack your whiskey, whatever you want to do, relax, let's clean up and call it a day. But it's a lot of work. It's hard to be the boss of it all and try to make sure that your name and your product are being represented properly.
Right. And I think that whole Friday window to, I say about 9 a.m. is kind of not very stressful at all. That's your time where you can hang out with your friends, go to dinner, do everything like that. But I feel like after 9 a.m., like that's time to be serious, grind the heels in, and we're here to cook.
Yeah, we actually implemented like a no cell phone policy for a certain amount of time. It's from 10 to last turn in.
Right.
So people can focus and stay focused and stuff like that. So, and I just kind of tell the guys, like, imagine it's casual Friday, you're still at work, but you have your Hawaiian t-shirt on, go have a good time. But
exactly. Yeah. And, that was a big difference for us this year too, is before, we'd get there Friday and everyone would be like, let's crack a beer, let's have fun. And things would get forgotten. And this year we just kind of put the hammer down and said, we're here to work.
Yeah.
So everyone pretty much stays sober the whole night. And that's always a big problem too, when you got teammates who are just getting plastered Friday night when you're trying to do a long cook overnight.
Right. And then they're knocked out at 2 a.m. in the lawn chair and you're like, yo, this.
Oh yeah. I remember, it was probably like 3 years ago, we're at Santa Anita and I'm sleeping in the back of my truck. It's like 2:30 in the morning and someone just told me get up, and I get up and look, and the guy who's supposed to be handling my big pit temps, he just passed out. I'm like, dude, okay. I got 9 pork bellies on the grill going, he's got to get done.
Right.
We actually had that in St. George a little bit. We had the morning shots. We usually do a 9/11 shot, but then Four Legs Up had a 10:31.
Yeah.
And our boy Chad was like, what? Shots right on. Boom, 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 boom. And he's like running around. Hey, what's going on? Oh my God. We lost it.
We'll do a 9/11 shot. And then after that, all alcohol gets put in the other ice chest. And it's kind of after 1:30, then we're good.
Yeah. I don't drink anymore. So it's nice for me. I just have my apple juice shot, and then, but Chad, he got crazy, man. He was like, oh, can't do that again. Because he was running around during all that time, a little tipsy in the daytime. But
I'll do Gatorade. I'll do Gatorade shots.
Yeah.
It was nice to have, but now I just don't drink. So it's like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's fun to do though. I love those shots. Those shots times are some of my favorites. Actually, I love those traditions.
Well, actually, I like the 9/11 shot because I can gauge my cook on if I'm ahead or behind on that cook.
Well, we do hard and fast, so right when they do the 9/11 shot, we're like trying to get our brisket off.
Yeah, it usually works out that way there because you can go hot and fast. Yeah, about that 9/11 mark, you're pulling stuff off.
Yeah. So
cool, man. Yeah. Well, that's all we kind of have for you.
Yeah.
Anything you want to throw out there?
I guess we didn't really talk about, but even like the new cooks getting out there and stuff. Don't be afraid.
Let's do that, please.
Yeah, please. Yeah, let's get. If you're
have that on my list, and bring it up.
I was like.
So, like, for example, so we have a lot of listeners who are seasoned cooks, and we have a lot of listeners who I suggest the podcast to who haven't learned because we really like to bring a lot of knowledge to everyone. So, what's a couple of things you would tell maybe a cook jumping from a backyard into a pro competition? And then follow that up or just if it's something you want to add to, just like a seasoned pro, like someone like maybe you've been cooking for a long time and you discovered something that you're like, this helped change the game. So talk a little bit about that too.
Right. Okay. Well, real quick, when I first started in 2013, my very first cook, I was intimidated and didn't really know what to expect and was trying to talk to these bigger teams, and kind of what I got from them was, oh, it's addictive. It's like, great. Can you help me out at all? So that was one thing I always set out to do when I got more experience was I want to help bring these younger guys up and not make them feel overwhelmed or discouraged and just give up. Because I love to see barbecue grow. So definitely, go and approach these newer or the bigger teams and stuff. Don't be afraid. Ask questions. I mean, obviously don't walk in there at, 11:55 or, right at turn and go, hey, what are you doing? Show up Friday.
Right.
Show up on a Friday and talk to these guys.
Right. Or help them clean.
Yeah.
Say, hey, what can I do? Can I throw some garbages? I can ask you a few questions.
Yeah.
That's a big thing there too. Is these backyard guys coming up. Either make that jump if you really feel you can, or talk to the pro teams and say, hey, can I learn from you? Can I help you out for the year and just get some pointers? And most of the teams will be more than happy to help out.
Right.
Especially if you're helping them clean.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because that's my worst. I hate that more than anything. All of a sudden, like, you turn in brisket and you just sit down and you look around going,
no
crap.
Yeah, exactly. I got to load all this stuff back up again.
Unless you have a sweet barbecue cart. He'll never hear the end of that.
What's something that you've learned along the way? Like what's a tip you can give someone who maybe has barbecued a lot? Something you found that you're just really excited about that oh my gosh, I wish I would have known this way back, when, or something that, you learned. Like for me, this is something stupid, but when we took the Burn Luton and Luton Birdie class, we learned this little trick with the forks, and you take these plastic forks and you take the two prongs out in the middle. So you have these two like devil horns, and that's how you take your chicken, and you can flip it and it just stays put, and you can move it any way you want. And when you move in the box, you're not touching the tops, and it just prong sticks in. So, I mean, for me, that was such a cool tip. And Chad, our chicken guy, he's just thinks it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to him. And it is. It's nice because before we're trying to move our arms and get that seasoning on the bottom, that little dust. And now you just like flip it, flip it, dunk it, flip it, move it. It's really easy.
Yeah, that's a cool little trick. For me, I mean, that's kind of why I went and started doing legs as well, is because I can just kind of grab that knuckle real gently with like my thumb and index finger and kind of roll it the same way, so I'm not using a fork. And it's not getting everywhere too. But for me, really, it was more of just a lot of trial and error, and then taking classes.
Yep.
Yeah, it does cost money, but the knowledge you get back is priceless.
Well, Christy Vanover from Girls Can Grill, I mean, she's a great cook. And I always said the second that chick gets a good recipe in her hand, it's over. And she went to a class, and she went to getting basics class, and she came out and she literally probably won her money back. Last comp.
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, that's it right there. Is we've all kind of been through the trial and error over the years, and take it from us. You know, we're trying to help you not make those same mistakes that we made. So definitely classes are a huge benefit. And then, I mean, the other big thing is don't cook your catering flavors at a competition.
Right.
You know, I mean, that you may think that you have the best flavor out there and you're the king of the backyard, but you get out here in the comp world and you get handed to you pretty quick.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many people have come to me and said, try this, and eat it, and while you're eating it, they explain to you that it's so good because their friends love it and their family loves it. And I'll tell you this, man, I'll eat your food and tell you I love it if it's free. You know?
Exactly.
So,
and friends and family are the heart. You know, you're never going to get an honest from friends or family because they don't want to hurt your feelings.
My sister's the best, but she's the most positive person on the whole planet. And I can give her battery acid. And she'll be like, it's really good. It's got this really good tang to it. Like, man, it's battery acid.
Yeah. I'm feeling something in the back of my throat here. It's got a good little burn.
Yeah.
But that's great. I like burns.
Well, sounds good. So where can people find you at?
So on Facebook, we're at Seven Sins BBQ. We also have Seven Sins BBQ, award-winning competition team in catering. Instagram at Seven Sins BBQ. Twitter at Seven Sins BBQ. Snapchat at Seven Sins BBQ. So we're getting the YouTube channel put together, so that'll be out hopefully pretty soon.
Cool.
And what was that one thing for your wife again?
Yeah.
Let's touch on that again, because I think that's really important.
Yes.
Oh, Huntington's disease, HDSA.org.
Perfect.
Yeah, and she's a cool lady. So I always talk to her. She's really fun. So go and look at that and help that out, and just kind of anything, you know, always just even checking it out and having awareness is a big deal too. Yep. So
yeah, I mean that, and actually, you know what, with this barbecue community, they've been insanely awesome. Pretty much, you know, most of the teams who know us know about her situation and are just phenomenal people. And the cool thing is, if I'm, you know, worrying about a comp and somebody happens to walk by who knows her, they'll keep an eye on her just to make sure she doesn't trip or fall or she needs anything. So it's way cool.
Sweet.
Yeah, it is cool.
Yeah.
Well, cool, man. We're recording this earlier in the year. I don't know when this is going to come out, but we'll be seeing you in Bullhead City, so we might talk to you down there too on the pod. Maybe do a little interview too. So,
okay, cool. Yeah,
cool. Chat.
Yeah, you guys drive safe over there, and I'll see you next weekend.
All right, man. That was awesome interview.
Yeah, it was cool. It's good talking to him.
Yeah, a lot of information in there too. So.
Well, that's going to do it for another episode, guys. If you want to follow us, you can all over the place. Like we talked about earlier, TikTok will be coming soon. Anyway, point of the matter is Instagram, Facebook, all that fun stuff. And
drop some reviews.
Yeah.
We want to hear what you guys are thinking about the podcast. If you have any ideas, drop them, put them in that review bar.
We do get emails, messages, and feel free to message on any of those platforms and let us know, because we love those when those come in, and we do listen very intently, and we do get a lot of great ideas from you guys. So keep them coming, and let your friends know about the Pitmaster podcast, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks, guys.